Point of the Switch 2 is even more DRM and microtransactions. Maybe stop pirating games. DRM only exists because people pirate games. The more you know. Nintendo was, what's the point of the anti-piracy crusade? Maybe stop pirating games. It's just that simple. But these people want to double and triple down on pirating games as well. You know, as well, and have gone to the point of treating their own paying customers as potential criminals as well. Game keys sees. Okay, there's a lot of misinformation about this whole game key thing. Game keys are only for like specific games. Kind of like with the Switch One. This has already existed on the Switch One, and it was only used for like certain third-party games. For some reason, Bravely Default will have a game key, but not. So, game keys, there's like only like 5 or 6 games that actually are confirmed to use this. Elden Ring, I think. Bravely Default, and I think Street Fighter 6 and a few like indie games, but most games do not use game keys. Yeah, for some reason Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't use a game key, but Elden Ring does. Yeah, makes no sense to me, considering the fact that Cyberpunk is a bigger game as well. Hogwarts Legacy doesn't use a game key, and of course the new Mario Kart and Donkey Kong game do not either. As well. This is of course misinformation being spread by 4chan obviously as well, as only sorts of games use game keys, kind of like they do on the Nintendo Switch 1. Certain game, if you do not remember, certain games like Overwatch or Fortnite, or of course, Outer Worlds, require you to download the game as well. Yeah. So isn't no different than what Sony and Microsoft already do as well. So if you want to play certain games on PlayStation and Xbox on disc, you will have to download the game, even if it's an Xbox 360 or a original Xbox game as well. One voice chat, that's a fee. You have to have the Nintendo Switch Online to do that. Isn't that no? But again, the Nintendo Switch Online is no different than what Sony and Microsoft are doing as well. If you want Nintendo to stop paying for the online, you have to demand Sony and Microsoft to stop doing it as well here. Want to play a game audio on a backwards compatible system? That's a fee. That's also misinformation. That's only if you want to upgrade the game to the upgraded graphics. Also, Sony was the one that invented that type of thing, and we also called out Sony for doing the same bullshit too. Yeah, if you want to play the last ones on the PS5 with the upgraded graphics, pay us $70 for the Last of Us Part 1. And the worst offender, I think, is Until Dawn, where they really thought that you could pay $70 for Until Dawn, and people would really buy that. Yeah, Sony is really that greedy. While City emulator barely functional with Sync UI, pay for the Super Switch subscription, and you have ROMs and emulators that will sue you. Of course, that's unfortunately emulation is technically illegal as it's piracy. I don't care if they probably drop the price to $50 for the console. It's worthless. It's just the fact that 4chan has played so much information, like misinformation about this whole thing here, as well here. I think when it comes to the Nintendo Switch Online games, I think Nintendo should have an option for us to buy the games. Like, why can't we just buy the games so we can own them forever, as well? Technically, anything digital, you don't own them forever. But I think people should be able to buy the games they can play on Switch Online as well. So even if the game gets delisted, you can still own them if you still have them downloaded on the Switch One as well. And I'm still against digital only games and digital games, but unfortunately most people do support it. And also the Switch Online is basically like Game Pass as well. If you want to criticize the Nintendo Switch Online, you should also criticize Game Pass for being the same exact thing as well. With the Switch Online, it's mostly retro games, and Game Pass you get new games as well. Really, the Nintendo Switch Online is no different than Game Pass in my eyes as well. It's just a subscription service to play games as well here. And And that's what this video here. So there's so much misinformation that people, and when it comes to the game card things, there's so much misinformation being pushed around about that. Obviously as well here. And if you want to criticize Nintendo for doing this stuff, you should also criticize Microsoft and Nintendo for normalizing paying for online as well. Because Microsoft was the one that basically normalized it. So you do not know during the 360, See, Microsoft finds out genius idea. If you want to play games with your friends online, you have to pay $60. Of course, not all. Of course, game developers are finding ways around this bullshit, so you don't have to pay for online. Which I think is something that we should all be doing. Okay, it's ridiculous that we have to pay. You have to pay a fee to play games with your friends. It is very ridiculous. But considering the fact that both Sony and Microsoft do it, it is ironic that we're calling Nintendo the villain for doing that type of bullshit when Sony and Microsoft do the same thing, and you guys are completely silent about it as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yep, again, 4chan explained misinformation like they always do. No surprise there.